Welcome to another episode of Heffron on History. Today, we are going to talk about the Orgon Trail. Next on Heffron on History. You should take out your spirally notebook, turn to a shiny new page in your spirally notebook, and write this down. The central question: how does the Orgon Trail play a role in the westward expansion of the USA? The Orgon Trail is just one of many different trails that were blazed throughout the western part of what will become the United States. And it is the thing that opens up the West to settlement and really creates the drive for people to claim the resources and the opportunities that are to be found in the western part of, again, what will become the United States. So let's examine those details, shall we? Okay, here are the details on the Orgon Trail. As usual, you need to know the who, the where, the what, the why, the how, the when. And if you understand those things, then you understand the stories of U.S. history. If you understand all the little tiny details, you should do quite well in U.S. history, but we want you to understand the stories. That's my goal on this channel. The what? The Orgon Trail is a trail blazed from the western through the western part of what will become the USA. It's one of many different trails. There's the Santa Fe Trail and the California Trail and a couple others that are going to specific places. This particular trail is going from Independence, Missouri, across the United States, across what will become the United States, to Astoria in Oregon. Where? This is going to be going across Oregon, the states of Oregon, the state of Washington, a little bit of Northern California, and it's going through the Great Plains. It's going over several different mountain ranges. It goes through a lot of different types of settings, a lot of different territories, a lot of different geographic features. Why? Well, Lewis and Clark went out, as you understand, to the West Coast, and they discovered, they explored the whole width of the North American continent. And in doing so, they discovered there's not a lot of people that live out there. There are certainly people that live out there. There are certainly Native Americans that live in the Oregon Territory. However, in the eyes of Lewis and Clark and the settlers and the politicians, that's free land. So there's free land. There's abundant timber. There is animal skins. We'll get to that in a second. There's potential for gold. There's a potential for silver. When did this all happen? Well, it starts in 1811, and it's actually going to continue well into the 1870s. The Orgon Trail itself doesn't change a whole lot. When my great grandfather was in the Civil War, he was actually stationed in the Dakotas, and his role was to protect settlers from the Indians. So people were still on the Orgon Trail even during the Civil War. I know during the Civil War we think the whole country just stopped and focused on the Civil War. That's not really true. People were still moving. Who, this is interesting, a man by the name of John Jacob Astor is the man who kind of kick-started the Orgon Trail rush, if you will. This is just a couple years after Lewis and Clark got back from their journey, and John Jacob Astor, after reading the reports of what they had discovered out there, they had discovered lots and lots and lots of cute little fuzzy creatures called beavers. And the beavers were in high demand for this little beauty. So the fashion of the day, I hope you can see this in the picture, the fashion of the day was the top hat. It's the brand new fashion, and John Jacob Astor realized with all the beavers out in the western part of the country, he could make a fortune supplying the skins to make these hats. This is a very old hat. This one is circa right around 1850 or so, and this is actually made of beaver skin. They are thick, they are water repellent, they are soft, and it's the fashion of the day, and that's going to be the fashion of the day for 100 years. So he's going to become America's first multimillionaire. He's going to create the settlement of Astoria, Oregon. I'll show you a picture of Astoria, Oregon in a second here. And he is going to create a humongous demand for people to go out there and capture beavers and bring the furs back to the civilized world, if you will. So we'll get a little bit more detail in this in just a second. Several years ago, my wife and I went out to Astoria, Oregon. We went to go visit my in-laws, and we had a wonderful time. We went to Astoria. It's a small village today. It's really not all that terribly large. This is the place where John Jacob Astor created a trading post in order to have a place to consolidate all of the skins that the fur trappers were catching, and then ship them back east. Astoria is on a bluff. In this picture that I'm showing you, I'm on a bluff overlooking the delta of the Columbia River. So you can see the Columbia River on the right-hand side of this picture. The Pacific Ocean is off in the distance in the center of the screen. I'm actually I'm at the top of a tall tower. It's called the Astoria Column, and it stands well above the bluff that's overlooking Astoria. So in this picture, right in the center and on the lower part, right near the water, that's the town of Astoria. The interesting part of this whole story, in this whole image, just off screen on the left-hand side, is Fort Clatsop. Now, when Lewis and Clark were on their journey, when they were on their expedition, the Corps of Discovery stopped and built a fort for the winter and called it Fort Clatsop. So that's actually right here too. This is a very historic area, and this is the area. You can see it's a very lush area. The trees are just growing like crazy. That was one of my observations. Is, oh my gosh, everything is so green, and the trees are so large, and everything is so healthy and lush and beautiful. And that is one of the things that really attracted people to come out here in the first place. Okay, we are to the point where we're gonna look at a map of where the Orgon Trail starts and where it ends, and all the challenges that are going to take place throughout this journey. You should draw this pretty drawing. Please don't feel bad if your drawing skills are not as spectacular as mine. I am an artiste. What we have here is the United States of America. You probably figured that out. Right up the middle of the United States, we have the Mississippi River. Off to the side of it is the Missouri River, and the little town of Independence, Missouri. Astoria is the other end of the Orgon Trail. And what you would have to do is you would start off in Independence, and you would travel through the Great Plains, over the Bighorn Mountains, over the Rocky Mountains, and over the Cascade Mountains to get to Oregon. Now that looks so simple. That looks like just drawing a little line. There's no problems at all. You have a bunch of rivers to cross. You have several deserts. One of the interesting things about going out this way, I've had the opportunity once upon a time to drive out paralleling the Orgon Trail. And what you discover is there's nothing in the Great Plains. Oh my gosh, you can drive for hours and hours and hours and not see anything. There's no telephone poles. There's no There's no fences. There's no cities. There's no gas stations. There's nothing. There's just nothing. It's just openness, right? There's ranches and there's farms. It's like land where the deer and the buffalo play. Then you come to the mountains, right? You go through the Great Plains, and then you get to an area that's kind of deserty, and then you come to the mountains, and it gets lush and it gets green. And then you go over the mountains, and it's desert again. Then you get to the mountains, and it's lush and it's green. And then you get past the mountains, and it's desert again. As I was saying, you're going over mountains, you're going through deserts. It's amazing what people actually had to go through. And I had the luxury of going through this area in a car, a modern car with air conditioning and bottled water and snacks and stuff like that. That is not what people had to go through in the 1800s. So, I'm going to erase a little bit of this so that you can draw some more stuff. So I'm going to erase this little chunk down here, because what you would have had experienced in this journey is you would have a wagon. You should draw this pretty drawing. Please don't feel inferior if your drawing skills are not as spectacular as mine. I am a professional. Here's my wagon. Right, here's my wagon. You've seen these in the westerns, right? They have, it's a covered wagon, right? Here I am. In fact, I'm waving to you. Here's my hat. I'm a happy guy. Here's my oxen. If you don't know what an oxen is, it's kind of like a beefy cow, right? They have big old horns, and here's this big old horn. I know. You're thinking to yourself, oh my gosh, Mr. Heffron, you're just the greatest artist. I know. So here's my oxen, right? And everything you own is in this wagon. Now this wagon, oh my gosh, these things aren't very big at all. They're like 4 feet wide, and they're maybe 10 feet long at best. They're probably closer to 8 feet. And the height of this thing, maybe 5-6 feet. You're gonna have to kind of crouch to stand up in the thing, right? And it's packed with everything you own, which means, except for the driver and the person sitting next to the driver, there's no room in there for you. And maybe if you have a baby, maybe the baby is riding, but most people are walking alongside. You should draw this pretty picture. Look at all these happy people. They're all waving to you. Oh, by the way, and if you had any livestock, they're also walking. So your cow would be walking behind you. Juniors leading the cow. This is the Orgon Trail, and you would have families, groups of families on a wagon train. It could stretch for miles. Just a long line of people working together on this journey. There's no McDonald's to stop at. There's no. Where do you get the water from? The stream. You have to assume there's a river up ahead that you're going to get some water from. What are you gonna eat? Well, you brought some food with you, but you're going to have to hunt for some animals. There's trading posts along the way, and you're going to have to buy some stuff there. But what's in this wagon? There's not a whole lot of room to put anything in this wagon, so you're taking whatever you can. It's a long journey. It may take you a year. It depends on what time of year you leave. You may get caught in the snow. You may get caught in a drought. You may get caught in the extreme heat. You may get caught in the extreme cold. It's a perilous journey. There's a whole story about a group that took an offshoot from from the Oregon Trail going to California called the Donners, and we'll have a little discussion about the Donner Party in a different video. But this is not an easy task. One of my favorite ways to teach the Oregon Trail is to play the Oregon Trail game. This is a card game, but it's also an online video game. It's one of the very first video games. If you talk to somebody my age, chances are pretty good they've played the Oregon Trail, and chances are pretty good they died of dysentery. It's probably the most common way for people to die on the Oregon Trail. And die they did. This is a dangerous thing. This is not a piece of cake, right? You're not driving in a car. You're not taking a bus. You're not flying in an airplane. You are in a wagon. And there are so many problems that can happen because you're in a wagon. Your wagon can break down, whether you have a broken wheel or a broken axle. You can get diseases. You can get measles. You can get dysentery or typhoid. You can get bitten by a snake. If you choose the wrong time of year, you can die from exposure from extreme heat or extreme cold. You can starve to death. You can run out of edible grass for the oxen and the horses and the cows, and then they can die, and you could have bad water. Hey, there's no bottled water. You could injuries, thieves. There's Indians out there, and the Indians are not happy that we are going through their territory, so you could have some Indian attacks. There's a lot of problems with the Oregon Trail. So if people are brave enough and resolved enough to make this journey, it's going to populate the West Coast. And when the California gold rush hits, the Oregon Trail is in the right place at the right time to increase the expansion of people to the west. The Oregon Trail is crucial. Once the railroad arrives, the Oregon Trail is going to go by the wayside. But this is how America is going to get populated in the west in droves. People are going to travel this. Hundreds of thousands of people are going to take this journey, despite all of these challenges. Till next time, Heffron on History.